Hello summoners, and welcome back to another one of our videos here at ProGuides. This video is going to be the only mid lane macro guide that you will ever need. After the great feedback on our top lane video, and thanks to your comments, we know that you guys wanted to see the same thing, covering other roles. We're about to go in depth and talk about macro play in the mid lane. As always, feel free to leave feedback or let us know what you liked in the comments down below. If you like this type of content, make sure to check out our channel for other videos just like this one. Also, check out ProGuides.com where we've created courses to help you level up your gameplay by partnering with pro players. We have a wonderful Pro Pass which allows you to get unlimited access to every guide in League of Legends, Fortnite, CSGO, Smash Bros, Hearthstone, also gives you one free coaching session by the best of the best. Alright, let's run it down mid. As we stressed in our top lane video, everything that we talk about in this one is subjective, situational, and not necessarily going to be correct every game. If you saw it, you'll also see that there's a lot of things that are nearly identical to top lane, alongside several new concepts. Let's go over some general strategies to get you rolling and demonstrating the mindset that you need. But first, you'll need to figure out what works best for you. To start off, let's talk about the lane itself, the actual lane. The great thing about mid is that the lane is short, it's close to turret, and more likely to have teammates nearby, so you can easily move anywhere around the map. Even in losing matchups, there's a lot more variance and options, but we'll come back to this in a bit. Remember to begin engagement during champion select. Assess the team comps and what your champion's strengths are. When thinking about your matchup, there are going to be more things that you need to think about than just how you win your lane. You're in the center of the map, so you hold more responsibility in helping your allies as well. You'll need to understand item power spikes, such as having extra mana from Lost Chapter, or strong wave clear from items like Ludens. There's generally a lot more emphasis on wave clear and mana. This is because there are generally a lot more ranged champions, and many more with great wave clear in the mid lane. Think about your team's win conditions, and determine at what points of the game you can most effectively help those win conditions. As early as level 3, champions such as Lissandra or Aurelion Sol will make their best effort to push and roam to a side lane. They want to take advantage of their strong roaming power, and a Nivea or a Ziggs who would farm and stall for items makes it so wave clear is their defining strength. After recognizing what your champion is strong at, you need to then determine if you can even take advantage of that strength. For example, let's use Lissandra and Ziggs. Ziggs outranges Lissandra, but Lissandra has more efficient wave clear alongside excellent setup. So we want to ask ourselves a very simple question. Who has lane priority in this matchup? Mid laners with some experience under their belt might answer Ziggs, because Lissandra's long cooldowns and low range make it easy for Ziggs to naturally poke her out, and making it to the point where she can't even touch the wave. However, the correct answer is, it depends, because mid lane is never a 1v1. That's right, jungle diff just ain't a meme. This means that no matter what your jungler's route is, they will always have access to the mid lane. Lissandra may be outclassed in trades, but she has great setup for her jungler. Throw in a Xin Zhao jungle for Lissandra and a Karthus jungle for Ziggs, and Ziggs suddenly is in an unfavorable situation in the 2v2. There's many factors that can impact the lane and possibly swing priority into Lissandra's favor. Getting Ziggs low from a gank, burning his summoners, or receiving mana advantages stemming from blue buff or items can all change who has lane priority. There's something that you're probably thinking to yourself is, well, that's true for every lane. And you know what? You're right. But we're bringing this up because mid is the lane where it's going to be more frequently a factor, and also the most effective role in utilizing this. When junglers provide pressure for their bottom lane and let them take priority, what does that accomplish? Quite frankly, unless there's a dragon up, a lot less than mid lane. That's a lot of stuff, and it's going to constantly be applied to both champion select and in-game. Your lane priority and matchup will be changing every single time, so think about your 1v1s, but also consider the other factors that can swing the matchup either way. With practice and actively playing to learn, you'll be able to learn the nuances of lane matchups and also how to bring out your champion's strengths the best that you can. After jumping onto the Rift, it's time to put our pre-game planning into action. Figure out what your objective is as the champ you are playing, and of course take action you need to do to accomplish it. Remember, as always, play to your champion's strengths. In terms of wave management, freezes aren't as effective in the mid lane, and that's because it's easier to break due to the lane being shorter, and your opponent can easily roam if you're freezing too much. You can use short freezes when you have jungle pressure to gain small leads early on, but you'll have to stop using them rather early. Slow pushes are a great tool no matter what role you play. Anytime you push in a wave, big or small, you create a roam timer for yourself. As a mid laner, creating roam timers for yourself will be even more rewarding than other roles. This is because these roam timers allow you to get a shallow ward, such as the Raptor ward as an option if you don't have any in the side lanes, either a deep ward. This deep ward can be closer to the middle lane, so you're more likely to spot the enemy jungler. You can gank a lane, you can utilize Fog of War to feint ganks and pressure side lanes, you can of course invade the jungle, or you can teleport to a side lane and put your opponent in a lose-lose situation, because then they'll have to farm under turret and either let you teleport uncontested and you'll be there for an advantage, or give up a huge wave to match your teleport if they have it. The other reason is that you'll be able to take more favorable trades with bigger minion waves. Solo kills in mid lane tend to happen as a result of favorable trades or landing tons of poke. You need to use wave management in order to create favorable scenarios for your trades, that way you can look for free poke with minion wave pressure. In side lanes, you want to contest pushes as much as you can in losing matchups without putting yourself in danger of dying. However, mid lane is somewhat different in that regard. There will be times where not contesting pushes is better. By allowing your opponent to push, it does a couple of things. Number one, the minion wave will hit your turret faster and therefore die faster. Also, having minions reach your turret means that you'll spend less mana to clear the minion wave. The times in which you want to contest the push are when you can safely not take a dive, meaning that you'll die if you get dove, or you can safely poke your opponent and as a result, take priority on a later wave. Remember what your goals are and stick to them. Like we've talked about, even in losing matchups, remember that there are other factors that can change this. You do not need solo kills to carry games. If you have good knowledge of the matchup, there might be some times where you can instead play for lane priority. Think along the lines of, hey, in this losing matchup, I can still push the wave at level 4 and roam to a side lane before their level 6 spike where they'll beat me. Mid laners hold great power and great responsibility in every single game. Being a mid laner means that you're close to everyone else on your team, Dragon, Rift Herald, the jungle, and all of your side lanes are a part of your responsibilities. When you are winning the matchup in the 1v1 as a mid laner, you're going to need to be ready to help your team. Side laners can be your win conditions in some games, so you can use the leads that you've developed to help them create leads. The most important play you need to look for as a mid laner is between 11 and 14 minutes into the game. At this point, turrets should be a bit lower, so you'll want to look for any opportunity to either set up a kill mid and break your tower, or roam with your jungler to a side lane. By doing so, you'll be able to break any one of the 3 outer turrets and accelerate the game. If you already took mid turret, push into the enemy's inner turret and roam while your opponent is catching up. If a side lane turret is broken, have anyone on your team push that lane into an enemy inner turret and take whatever neutral objective is near it. There is a common tactic where after taking the bottom lane turret, you lane swap, and if you're playing a champion with great wave clear who is able to outplay dives, you'll want to go bottom and let your marksman support duo go mid. With the 2v1 advantage mid, your bot lane should be able to pressure the tower while you defend your bottom turret. The mid game starts roughly around the time turret plating falls off, give or take 14 or 15 minutes into the game. Based on how we're doing, this is when we really want to start impacting the entire map. We need to now reassess our goals, and we have more items at this point, so plays will be more definitive. If we weren't able to during the early game, our objective should be to break one of the enemy's outer turrets in the exact fashion that we just mentioned. If the Rift Herald is still alive on the map, we also want to do whatever we can to secure it. This means we might have to buy some control wards and look for picks, or just push mid and start it with our jungler. If we were able to successfully break the turret, this is where we really need to play to our champion's strengths. Assassins or split pushers are going to need to head to the side lanes, so from there, they'll either slow push or fast push waves to create pressure. Once those waves crash, they either need to commit to taking turrets or roam to make flanks or picks. Mages will likely stay with their team as much as possible. They're usually the primary source of wave clear, so they'll want to stay with teammates who can protect them. They'll also struggle a little bit in the side lane, so they're better off pushing and grouping almost all the time. You should pay attention to which dragons are spawning and continue to reevaluate which objectives that you want to take. If your team will outscale, you can look to let the game stall out by continuing to clear waves and playing defensively until the Baron spawns. In situations where you will get outscaled, you must play proactively. You must use your wave management skills to create pressure or opportunities to group up. Invade the enemy jungle with your team, sweep out vision, and look for engages or pick opportunities. While the late game isn't specifically defined, it generally starts around 25 to 30 minutes into the game. Death timers are getting longer, so a decisive teamfight will almost always lead to inhibitors, Baron, Dragon, or even the potential to end the game. What this means for you as a mid laner is that all you'll need to know if you 1-3-1, group is 4, or group is 5. This comes down to understanding where each player's power level is at comparative to their counterparts. A 1-3-1 split push should be what you do when you and your top laner are playing characters who can sufficiently side lane. By pressuring all 3 lanes at once, the enemy team will have to collapse on one lane or slowly get whittled down. After pushing waves into enemy turrets, you can then also watch your team's group of 3 and look for opportunities to flank the opponent. If someone comes to match you, determine if you can poke them out or dive them. If you can't, finish pushing in the wave and then threaten a flank for your team. In a 1-3-1, play for inhibitor pressure by pushing when it's safe and eventually taking the turret. Grouping as 4 is when you can't side lane, but your top laner can. If you need to, you'll set up a slow push in one side lane and then group with your team immediately after. Your goal is to support your split pusher by fighting for priority in your lane and then taking vision for them. The hardest part here is avoiding getting engaged on by the enemy team. You'll need to position safely, continue to clear the waves, and attempt to disengage any attempts by your opponent. Grouping as 4 means you're supporting your split pusher. Do whatever you can to get them the inhibitor that they're going for. Group as 5 is the choice made by when your team is unable to match a split pusher, or simply can't split push effectively. You're looking for any favorable teamfights, engages, picks, or dives while grouping with your team. Your team needs to pull the trigger in these situations, unless the enemy team is already grouped as 5. A 5 stack means that you'll force plays and create a big number advantage. On top of that, afterwards you'll assess which objective is the safest and best to take. No matter what the situation is, know that your goal is either inhibs, Baron, or Dragon. No matter which lane allocation you decide to go with, play for those objectives. Anytime that you lose a game, you need to learn to review your gameplay. You need to optimize your play so that you're the one who's ahead in the late game more often than playing from behind. Playing from behind is just extremely hard, so make sure you pay close attention to your early and mid game when reviewing. You need to look for those key moments that cause you to fall behind and then work to not make those mistakes in future games. In games where you didn't fall behind, you should instead look for opportunities where you could have impacted another part of the map. Look for windows where you were stronger than your opponent but couldn't translate them into leads. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, you can check out ProGuides.com and our YouTube channel for more content just like this. On our website, you can check out High's mid lane fundamentals or InstaPro to take your gameplay to the next level. Good luck on the Rift, and we'll see you all next time.